Man, I gotta say, I am so glad that my friend has cut my hair for the past few years because I could just call her up and be like, can you just come to my house and cut my hair, please? Because all the salons are closed right now. So that's my advice to you. Find a real life friend that can cut your hair because you'll always have a haircut available. Extraction was directed by Sam Hargrave and stars Chris Hemsworth as a mercenary that's tracking down the son of a drug lord that was kidnapped in India. But as his mission turns deadly very quickly, he begins to realize this kid is sought after by a lot more people than he originally thought. This film premiered on Netflix today, and I gave it a watch because it's written by Joe Russo, produced by him and his brother Anthony, and it's directed by Sam Hargrave, the veteran stunt coordinator of the Avengers movies, some of the Pirates of the Caribbean films. He's been around doing stunt work for a while, and this is his first time behind the camera. And in the past, I would have been like, ooh, stuntman making a movie. But ever since the John Wick films, I don't take anything for granted. And his past work as a stunt coordinator is obvious throughout this movie. The action scenes are mind-blowing. There are at least a couple scenes in this movie that are some of the best hand-to-hand combat I've seen recently in a movie. There's one in particular that's about an 11-minute simulated one take. You can tell where some of the cuts are, but the effect is pretty seamless. And this sequence in particular has the potential to be an all-timer in regards to action scenes. I think this movie will be studied by stunt coordinators and people who want to work as stunt people. It's an extremely violent movie. Chris Hemsworth is killing motherfuckers left and right, ripping off heads, throwing people into brick walls, tossing people around. People are getting hit by trucks and just fucking flying into the air. It's really, really fun stuff if you're an action movie junkie. And despite its VOD-like title, a title that seems like it would star Michael Madsen and Bruce Willis and be at the bottom of a bin at your local Walmart, this movie was a lot better than I expected it to be. I'll put it this way. I've turned off a lot of Netflix movies partway through. I didn't turn this one off. All that being said, it will definitely not be studied for its characterization or its subtlety or its plot. This is a very bare bones plot. Chris Hemsworth is a mercenary. He's got a bit of a traumatic past. He's been hired to track down this kid and bring him to safety. The movie doesn't try to be too much else. It knows exactly what it is, and it's pretty good at being that. And it's pretty okay with being that. If this was being written by a spec writer, someone who isn't Joe Russo, someone who wants to get into the business, it would probably be thrown back into their face saying, look, this is just some straight to DVD shit. You're never going to get this made. Just forget it. But since Joe Russo's behind it and Anthony Russo, the film got made. And obviously this is the Avengers team figuring out how to make a cool action movie that could be on Netflix. And I'm excited for Sam Hargrave for getting to direct this movie because he shows a real flair for this type of action work. But there's definitely something to be said about the fact the movie doesn't really have that much else to offer beyond the action scenes and Chris Hemsworth's extreme likability and charisma in the lead role. He's very good in the film. He does a lot of the stuff himself. The stunt team, again, I must say, is just remarkable in this movie, and they can't be given enough praise. But if you don't really care that much about action films and you'd rather be invested in the characters and the situation and the drama of the moment, you're not going to get as much of that, although they do give about as much as they can to a plot that is as fast as this. There's enough of a backstory for Chris Hemsworth to get invested in him and to feel for him in a way. We've kind of strayed away from the Cobras and the Predators of the 80s, where heroes spouted one-liners, and now we have really tragic backstories for our main characters instead. There's still some fun to be had in this movie, but I can understand why some people might actually think it's a little too violent. That's not a problem for me, though. I don't watch a movie like this expecting it to be tame. And in a world where everyone loves John Wick, I'm surprised that so many critics have actually complained about the violence. While I can understand, it does surprise me. I have a feeling it's probably because John Wick is a more pulpy experience. It's a little more fun. Extraction is more hard-edged. Although the action is over the top, it feels a little more plausible, and so it's a little harder to disconnect from the fact that you're watching a movie, and in some ways, some of the violence in the movie might bother some. It didn't bother me. It's a movie. It's fiction. And although I don't really expect that much more than some great action out of a movie called Extraction directed by a stunt coordinator, I would have liked to have seen a lot more characterization given to the kid that he's rescuing. Hemsworth gets some. You understand his backstory eventually and you can relate to him, but the kid, he likes to play piano. He occasionally moves his fingers on his knee like he's playing piano to calm himself down. But besides that, you don't really know that much about him. He's a son of a ruthless crime lord. What's his life like? What's it like being the son of a crime lord, having a target on your back just to get at your dad? That's interesting, and they don't explore enough of that. I think that could have really helped the movie. Still, there's in particular that 11-minute one-take scene, and then there's like a hand-to-hand combat scene where Hemsworth is just tossing dudes around a brick building. Really amazing stuff, and I found myself pretty riveted by the action scenes, but you're not going to get that level of attention with the characters in this movie. And sometimes I can really be in the mood for one of those. I'm going to give Extraction a B. It's on Netflix right now. Give it a watch if you just want to watch some really great action scenes. I think this movie delivers for the most part. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.